Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast you can enjoy whilst making a cuppa. My name is Emma Cossey. I am a coach for freelancers, and throughout September, I'm sharing episodes that will hopefully help you review where you're at with your business, what to do moving forward, especially in a time where a lot of industries are being shaken up by AI. So I want to make sure you're still getting clients and can still happily run your freelance business. So in the first episode of the month, we talked about your offers, your services, what you're offering, what you need to stop offering, and how to offer it so that your clients are very clear, or potential clients are very clear on what solution you're offering. Last week, I talked a bit about discovery calls and monitoring where your clients are coming from. And this week, I'm going to talk about being visible with your business so that you can get those clients. We are constantly bombarded with so much information every single day. And that can be overwhelming. And also it can make it really hard to remember who does what. And sometimes people will come to me and say, oh, can you recommend, I'm just going to pluck a industry, like a graphic designer. And if I'm honest, there are a few that I will always recommend, but also I will probably remember the ones that have been the most visible or have interacted with the most. And I know they're great. I'm not going to recommend people who are not great, but what I mean is the ones that are in contact or the ones that are visible are going to be the ones that are easiest to remember, which sucks, I'm sure. But that is how we all work. It's a bit of object permanence. We need to be visible and let people know what we're offering and remind them. That said, I know that's exhausting. I know it's really hard to try and do all that whilst you're running a business. So there are 4 ways that I recommend people look at when they're looking at how to find clients or be found by clients. We're going to call it the freelance client funnel 4. I need to have a better name for it, but it is kind of the framework that I use. So the 4 areas are social media. I'm not talking about all social media, just the ones that work for you. Networking, referrals, and pitching. So we're going to go quickly into each one. So social media. This is the one where you need to work out, and this is where last week's episode is useful, to see where clients have come from in the past, or you kind of, if you're new to freelancing, where you're already making some connections there. So choose one social media that you're going to focus on. You don't have to do all of it. I'm at a point now where I can do TikTok, Instagram, Facebook group, bit of YouTube, LinkedIn, because I have automations in place and a team. If you're just starting out, just choose one. And if I'm honest, as much as it pains me to say, because I don't love it as a network, LinkedIn is often the best for converting. It does depend on what you do. If you have a very visual business, Instagram's probably going to be your bag. But LinkedIn does work quite well. But choose your social network and just say, this week I'm going to do 3 posts, and one of them's promoting what I do, one of them's sharing a tip on my knowledge, and one of them is some kind of storytelling. This is what we're getting the feedback is now, that the algorithms love storytelling more than value sharing at the moment. By value sharing, I mean, like, I love sharing like 10 tips for this or that kind of thing. That's not doing as well as, here's how I got to this stage. So storytelling seems to be where it's at. And actually, if you're new as a freelancer, that's fantastic, because you can talk about why you're so passionate about going freelance, or about what you're offering. If you're an established freelancer, you can talk about what you've seen and what works and what you love working with, what clients you love working with, and how you've changed things for your clients, all those sorts of things. So social media is the first of the kind of 4 bits that go in the funnel to finding clients. The next one is networking. I've done a bunch of content on networking as someone who is introverted and also has ADHD, so can get very overstimulated. I totally understand that networking can feel very overwhelming for lots of people. I do have a mini course on this, actually, I think a £9 course on networking, which has loads of tips, especially if you're more introverted. But networking is such a good way of going into a room and meeting lots of people in just a really kind of friendly way. You get good and bad networking events, but I found lots of quite lovely ones. And it's just a great way. And also, when you meet people face to face, the know, like, trust factor is much stronger than social media. So sometimes I find it's a much faster way to find new clients. And also, people who network, if you meet a few really strong networkers and get to know them well in an authentic way, they'll refer you for things as well. So networking is definitely worth looking at. Third one, referrals. So this is basically anyone that recommends you. So it could be a previous client. It actually, I would fall under this two other things: PR, so being in the media and things like that, but also like if previous clients come back to you, I would say that falls under referrals as well, or if they fall under that umbrella. And referrals is pretty much all. It pairs up nicely with networking social media in that you'll be visible and meeting people, and people will then refer you that way. Essentially, though, the key to referrals is just do a great job as a freelancer and keep in touch. It's kind of as simple as that. If you need to remember how to keep in touch with people, there are quite a few tools that you can do with that. There's an app called Covey, which is COVV, and I think it's 1 E or 2. I can't remember if it's 2 E's, but that will nudge you after certain time periods that you've added someone's details to sort of give them a nudge, or you might want to put something in your calendar, anything like that. So yeah, it can be automated a little bit. And the final one is pitching. This is where you are contacting people and saying, I offer these services, would you be interested? But you might also be pitching to the media to do articles, or you might be their guest expert or a speaker. There's lots of different ways of pitching. Again, I have another course on that because I love little mini £9 courses. So I've got one there which has got email templates for pitching to the press, cold pitching, and how to sort of pitch your services to friends and family just for them to refer other people to you. So there's lots of different ways of pitching, but those are kind of the 4 key ways. Now, I know a lot of people have low energy or little time to do these things. So I would recommend having a look at social media networking, referrals and pitching, and deciding what small tasks you can do for each of those each week. And it could be you decide, I'm going to do a social media post, I'm going to follow up with some people that I met at networking last week, and I'm going to check in with my previous clients and just see if they have any work coming up. It could be I'm going to send a quick email to my local radio station to see if they're doing anyone, they need someone to talk about this upcoming awareness day or news item, or just a seasonal topic. Or you might just book on for a networking event and do an Instagram reel. So they don't have to be massive, big things. And if you want to just do threads or week or TikToks, you can absolutely do that. The key is, and this is a Ruth Poundwhite quote, who I'm a big fan of, persistence over consistency. So don't worry about being perfectly consistent. Being persistent is much more effective. So overall, I would say small little steps are much better than panic pitching. So doing something regularly just to be visible and remind people that you're there. So I'd love you to have a think this week, which of those might you be doing? And also my little reminder of a hack for LinkedIn. LinkedIn has games now. That's the only way that I'm reminded to go on LinkedIn every single day, because I've got, what's it called, where you go on there? Not a thread, but a streak. That's the word. I've got a streak going on LinkedIn. That keeps me going on there. And then inevitably I end up responding to some comments and things like that. So if LinkedIn doesn't come naturally, hack your brain by trying the games. So I hope you found that useful. Next week is the final one of this kind of month of hopefully shaping things up a little bit and helping you with your business. And it's all about following up. So it's kind of, if the networking side here was appealing, it's going to be tapping into that. Right, I hope you have a wonderful freelance week.